I have all of the Diary of Wimpy Kid books. Here's a photo if you don't believe me. And today, I'm going to be tier listing all of the Wimpy Kid books, including Rowley's Diaries. I'm also going to be giving them a rating out of 10. But I'm going to be leaving out the do-it-yourself book and the Wimpy Kid movie Diaries. Now, just a little review of the characters in case you haven't even heard of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Here's Greg, Rowley, Roger, Manny, Susan, and Frank. Like the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, I'm gonna go with an A tier with this one. For an origin story, it's pretty good. It thoroughly describes the characters. My favorite part of the book is probably when Greg and Rowley set up their own haunted house. You gotta admit, they had a pretty solid plan for it. They just didn't have the equipment to set it up properly. The Halloween park where they went trick-or-treating was well written too. When I first read the book, I genuinely got scared at the part where the teenagers were trying to catch them after Greg yelled at them. But then after the Snake Road part, Frank watered them, so it was okay. 7 out of 10. Roger Cruels is also going to be an A tier. This book is genuinely so good. This one explores more of Roderick's antics from Greg's point of view. And one of the more interesting plot points is how Rowley goes on so many trips. It's obvious that Greg is jealous of his friend, but he won't outright admit it. And here's a plot point that I found really annoying. Manny makes Greg that little tinfoil spike ball thing. And when Greg tries throwing it away, Susan says he can't because Manny made that for him. That's gonna hurt someone. Well, it did. It hurt Rowley. Only after the damage was done, then Greg was allowed to throw away the spike ball. Like, no, Susan. The damage is already done, and it's your fault that happened. But anyway, my favorite part is Roderick's party. The fact that Roderick wanted to have a party, locked Greg in the basement, and then told Greg that if he does not clean up, they're both gonna get in trouble. The most intense moment of that cleanup was when they had to switch the bathroom door with Roderick's room door. That's the leading factor into finding out they had a party. It's insane. 9 out of 10. The Last Straw is a B tier. The Boy Scouts plot is kind of interesting. I thought it was pretty funny that when Greg and Rowley were whittling, Greg carved a sheep out of soap, just flipped it upside down and handed it back as a boat. One thing that annoyed me was that Greg was trying to take Frank on a camping trip, but then Susan jumps in and tells Roderick to go too. Like, Greg says the point of the camping trip was to get out of that house because him and Roderick were fighting. So like, it doesn't always have to be like Greg and Roderick going everywhere together. They can have one-on-one time with one parent. Anyway, 6 out of 10. Dog Days is a B tier because the story takes place during summer break. My favorite part is when the family decides to get a dog. Another good part is when Greg goes with Rowley's family to the boardwalk and blows $20 in a plushie that Rowley's dad bought for him at the gift shop for $10. That's also kind of annoying because how do you not realize he's playing the game to win the plushie? Also, throughout their trip, they're not really including Greg in it. Like, they brought 3 scoops of ice cream on 1 cone for 4 people, and then they got into Greg's souvenir keychain photo without asking. And on top of that, they like stood directly in front of him, so you can't even see Greg in the photo. So in my opinion, if they wanted a family photo that bad, like, take your own. Don't block Greg because he spent his own money on it, and then he's just out of money now. Anyway, that's probably 6 out of 10 for me. So The Ugly Truth is also a B tier. The egg plot point is kind of weird. It's like you fail at being a parent if you can't take care of an egg, which is like already breakable, easily breakable. The school sleepover point was also kind of interesting. Like they played all these weird games, took away their phones and all their food. But then taking away their phones backfired because all the parents showed up and took their kids home. I would say the annoying part is when they had the cleaner come over, but all she did was sit on the couch, eat chips, and Susan just let it happen until the cleaner invited all the other cleaners in the neighborhood up to their house for a TV watching party. And then only when it got to that point, then Susan decides to get rid of her. I think you can tell by now that Susan is not my favorite character. But anyway, 7 out of 10. Cabin Fever is 100% an S tier. This is like the first book that I read that got me into like the series. And my annoying plot from this book is when the family starts decorating the tree while Manny is sleeping. And then when he wakes up from his nap, he comes down and gets upset that they started decorating without him. And they thought it's because someone put on the ornament that he usually likes to put on. But what does Susan do? Instead of explaining to Manny that he's not always going to get his way, she makes him take all the ornaments off the tree and lets Manny put it on first. Like, either tell him that he's not going to get his way, or wait for him to wake up before you start decorating the tree. It's really not that hard. And you know what? You can just say no sometimes. But anyway, my favorite part is when the blizzard hits and the family gets snowed in, because everything goes wrong right as that happens. Greg shows Manny a magic trick, and he tries it on Susan's glasses and breaks them. But in regular Susan fashion, she doesn't get mad at him. Well, at least she has a reason to turn away and ignore him if he misbehaves, because she literally can't see what's happening. While their basement flooded, their electricity went out, they're running out of food, and a bunch of their stuff got ruined from the flood. And then, here's a plot twist. We found out that Manny had shut off the power to their house, but then when Susan confronts him about it, he starts crying and saying it's because no one taught him how to tie his shoes. Like, bro, you did not leave your family to starve just because you don't know how to tie your shoes. Anyway, the overall plot of this book is too good not to put an S tier. 10 out of 10. So, the third wheel is an A tier. The Valentine's dance plot, I think it's pretty cool. And I think it's also really cool how they could buy, like, candy grams to invite people to the dance. I thought it was pretty insane that Greg's trying to make a good impression on Abigail, the person that he's going to the dance with, and Rowley ends up with her in the end. The thing that I found annoying has nothing to do with Susan, surprisingly. It's actually the fact that Greg invited Rowley to the dance with him and Abigail, but then it's treating Rowley like the third wheel. Like, when they're eating dinner, he tells Abigail that she can order whatever she wants, but then tries to signal to Rowley to get something cheap. But then Rowley literally got the same thing as Abigail, which is the most expensive thing on the menu. So it's kind of a spit in the face to Greg. But I just feel like if you're inviting your friend to come with a dance with you, you know, just treat him, let him have his night out. But overall, 9 out of 10, it's pretty good. So Hard Luck is also an A tier. I think it's kind of cool that this book is a continuation of the third wheel. My favorite part is definitely when Greg and Rowley become friends again. It's definitely a nice, wholesome moment. I found it funny when Greg used reverse psychology on his parents. He was like, I don't want my own phone because I'm not responsible enough. And then Susan turns around and says, oh, you can have my old phone. Like, that worked way too perfectly. Okay, something small that I found kind of annoying is how Greg treats Rowley, even when they're not friends. Like, he's upset that Rowley has a girlfriend, and it's like Rowley just had to give himself a girlfriend. Now he can't do all this stuff for me, and now I have to suffer. But think about it this way. If Greg had a girlfriend, wouldn't Rowley be in the same boat as Greg is right now? You know, something to think about, Greg. 9 out of 10, either way. Still really good. So the long haul is, honestly, a C tier. I don't hate it, but I don't have much to say about it. One thing I did find annoying was the Beardos family. Like, their parents were letting their kids run wild in the hotel hallways, and then their dad got mad that Greg yelled at them. Like, if you don't want someone else to yell at your kids, then discipline them. Why are they making noise in the hallway when people are trying to sleep? But I thought it was pretty funny that Roderick locked their microwave pizza in a safe. So he locked it just like, he thought it was a microwave, so he locked it in there, right? And then they couldn't get it out. But he could have just typed in however long he set the timer for. Like, for example, if he like, you know, set the microwave, whatever. If he set it to cook for 1 minute, then they could just have typed in 100, and it would have unlocked the safe. Yeah, but other than that, I don't have much to say about it. 6 out of 10. So, Old School is also a C tier. And we're back with Susan's most annoying moments. The whole premise of this book is, like, based on Susan's annoying vision. Like, I get it, unplug when you can, but this is a new generation, and we can take breaks and not be on electronics as much, but you can't just completely take it away. I did really enjoy watching Greg and Rowley make their own lemonade stand. Like they're eyeballing the ingredients, Greg squirts lemon juice in his eye, and then some other kid sets up a lemonade stand, competing with them. Then they switch to selling fitness water, and then they end up planting flowers at the park. Oh yeah, also when Greg and Rowley were trying to sell their fitness water at the park, her volunteers were cleaning up. Susan has a problem with it. But then when a group of Girl Scouts pull up to sell their cookies, then Susan's the first one in line. So she's the hypocrite. 6.5 out of 10 though. Honestly, Double Down is an S tier. This book is so good. So I really enjoyed the whole trying to become famous by becoming an actor plot. The part where they're making a movie of Gummy Worms is actually pretty genius. Like if they had a proper set, props, and camera, it could actually work. And the book fair part is so relatable. I feel like every kid has dropped $30 on junk instead of buying like actual books. Here's what annoyed me. So Greg and Rowley joined the school band, and during the fall performance, right before they're gonna go on stage, Greg's shoe gets untied. So he bends down to tie it, and then when he's tying his shoe, the last band kid leaves the room and slams the door behind him. So Greg's trying to open the door, but it's locked. Then Rowley sees him, but then lets the door shut behind him, and they're both stuck. Greg tries opening the door again, but his pants rip in the process. Obviously, he doesn't want to be embarrassed, so he tells Rowley to use a black marker to color where his pants rip. And then Frank walks into the room at the same time and starts chewing Greg out, asking why he's goofing around, even though Greg told him the story. It wasn't his fault, and Frank's just like flat out ignoring him. But other than that, it's a pretty great book, so 9 out of 10. So The Getaway is 100% an S tier. I really enjoyed just the overall story, and I think it's really cool that it's like a vacation story. I don't know. I don't have anything specific. I just really enjoyed it. But one thing that annoyed me was when they're getting on the plane, and Frank says that he can upgrade to first class because he's always going on business trips. And Susan's like, but it's a family trip. Like, bro, if you get a free upgrade, you take that upgrade. He's always dealing with you. Just give him a break. But anyway, moving on. 10 out of 10. So Meltdown is C tier. There's not much that really sticks out to me for this one except the big snowball fight at the end. I really thought it was funny that the snowball fight started between the kids on the lower side of the hill versus the kids on the upper side of the hill. And then the safety patrol comes out of nowhere for revenge. But one thing that annoyed me was the lower street kids don't let the upper street kids play on their end of the street, but then expect the higher street kids to let them play on their side of the street. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you don't let them play on the lower side during the summer, why do you expect them to let you guys sled down the hill in the winter? There's some entitlement there, but overall, 8.5 out of 10. A Wrecking Ball is also a C tier. There weren't that many like woohoo moments that made this book extraordinary. I thought Greg's yard sale was pretty funny. Like the random tables that he was setting up was quite organized. One thing I felt like Rowley didn't deserve was that Greg set up a table that was labeled gifts for nerds. It was all the presents that Rowley had gotten for Greg. Kinda did Rowley dirty with that one. The annoying part was when Frank makes Greg put the tarp back on their hot tub in a literal storm, and Greg almost got sent to the hospital twice because of it. So I feel like if Frank really had a problem with it, and it couldn't wait until the storm stopped, then he should have done it himself. But like 5.5 out of 10, I don't know. It wasn't, I don't know. So The Deep End is B tier. I think this one's a sequel to the last one because they go on the road trip because their house was getting repaired. That Camp Eden or whatever they went to sounded kind of cool. It had like an arcade and a pool and stuff, so it sounded more like a high quality campsite. But one thing that annoyed me was the rudeness of some people at that campsite. Like there was the lady that sprayed them with water because lights out is at 9, and they didn't know that. And then there's another guy standing behind Greg waiting for him to get out of the shower, and then Greg's water ran out, so he stepped out to put another coin in, and then the guy takes the shower and even starts using his shampoo. Then there's that other guy that was doing wood carvings with a chainsaw at like 8 AM. And then that same guy threw their laundry on the floor because he wanted to wash his laundry. I don't know. I feel like some people are just so rude. But anyway, 7 out of 10. Bankshot is a B tier as well. The sports concept is kind of cool. We usually see Greg as a video game type of person, so it's cool he decided to switch it up with basketball this time. I thought it was pretty insane that Susan trades Greg to the other team, but then when he makes the winning shot for that team, the other team, she's butthurt that Greg's original team lost. She basically did that to herself. Like, if you didn't trade Greg, maybe you would have had a chance of winning, but you can't be butthurt about it because you did it to yourself. She kind of made this decision herself, and look what happened. 7.5 out of 10. Okay. So diaper overload, honestly, in A tier, it's pretty good. It's kind of interesting how Greg tags along for Roderick and his band's tour. And it's kind of cool, we get to learn more about his band. But it's kind of sad though, that his band broke up at the end. It's literally only Roderick and Bill left at that point. So the annoying part is that at one point the band's playing at a restaurant, and the owner said she would pay them half of the admission that she earns for that day. But she invited them to play on a day where she doesn't charge an admission fee. That's literally a scam. You can't say I'll pay you and then not pay them for something that was your fault. On top of that, she made them clean up the stage because the audience threw chicken wings at them. She really just screwed them over twice, but alas, 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, no brainers a B tier. I thought the part where Greg had to be principal for a day was funny, because everything went wrong on the one day that the actual principal wasn't there. Also, I've never experienced this firsthand, but I feel like the principal, wasn't actually supposed to take off. I think he's supposed to stay at the school in case there's, a big emergency. For example, when the hallway started flooding. The actual principal is supposed to handle stuff like that. And then Greg's just supposed to do minor tasks. But one thing that annoyed me is that parents are trying to ban library books for stupid reasons. One of the books is a picture book of real animals, and the parents are getting mad that the animals aren't wearing pants. If you were to see a pig or an animal in real life, would you cover your kid's eyes because a pig isn't wearing pants? Probably not. It's just super weird. And anyway, 8.5 out of 10. Hot mess. I cannot believe I'm saying this. D tier. My god. Susan is so annoying in this book. I know it's supposed to be a family trip, but Susan just wants them together 24/7. First of all, they've been fighting all day, and everyone just wanted a break from one another. But then Susan wants them to all watch a TV show. But then she's shutting out all the ideas that everyone else has. They end up watching her favorite show. Another part is when they wanted to play a board game, and everyone else wants to play it except for her. And then when she gets overruled, she gets upset at them and then goes into a room to read. They all wanted to play, but just because they didn't want to do what you want to do, you got mad at them. I don't know why Susan thinks she's the boss on this trip. Yeah, I get it. Have some family activities. It's a family trip, after all. But sometimes people just want to do their own thing, or sometimes people want to do something that other people don't want to do. And in that case, it's okay to split up and do different things. But I don't understand why Susan has a hissy fit over a board game. And the next day, they all wanted to do something, and then Susan's like, I don't care, do what you want. Okay, wait, I just remember this, but at one point while they're playing the board game, they all yell because Frank lost, right? They're all happy, right? They're all cheering, right? And then Susan wakes up and comes out of the room to see what's going on. She slides the board game off of the table and into a trash can. What is your problem? They're having fun. She's probably upset because they found her activities boring, but they're having the time of their life playing a board game. Dude, seriously, chill out. Let them enjoy their vacation. I thought this plot point was really cool that Greg was trying to become a social media influencer. I thought the ice cream taster reviewer thing he wanted to do was really creative. But I thought it was pretty funny how he went to each ice cream shop and he's like, I need free ice cream for my channel. When in reality, you're just supposed to buy the ice cream, right? And then maybe eventually some companies will send you free products. But that was the only thing that I liked. The rest of the book kind of sucked, so I don't know, 4 out of 10. Also, Friendly Kid, Rowley's Diary. So that's gonna be a B tier. It's very good. My favorite part is probably when in one of his classes, his teacher gives everyone C's, but then Greg yells at the teacher that Rowley deserves a B because he's the only one that ever does work in the class. So yeah, and then yeah, he ends up with a B. So it's pretty good. I really like that. I did get annoyed when Rowley went over to Greg's house for a sleepover, because Greg was just being a jerk the whole time. He locked Rowley outside, and then Greg got mad at him when he went and rang the doorbell to get back inside. And then in the morning, Greg told Rowley that he wasn't allowed to use electricity if he didn't pay for it. And then he stole Rowley's cookie, and then Susan said since Greg stole from him, he was allowed to take a toy home. But he ended up taking a broken one, and then Greg flushed that toy down the toilet so Rowley couldn't take it home. But then Susan said that Rowley could take 3 toys home, and he picked one so it weren't broken. So rare Susan win, I guess. 7 out of 10. Awesome, friendly adventure. I'm gonna go with, honestly, C tier for this one. It's not terrible, but I just didn't enjoy the story that much. I thought it was funny that throughout this whole story, Rowley's just trying to write for enjoyment. And then Greg's trying to, like, somehow profit off of this in the future. He's also kind of micromanaging this whole book, which is kind of like, eh. I'm pretty sure at one point, Rowley wanted to stop writing and focus on his other activities. At another point, Greg's trying to tell Rowley that one of his characters have to get killed off, when Rowley doesn't want to do any of that. Close to the end, Greg tells Rowley that he's not going to help him finish the story, all because Rowley doesn't want to profit off of it. But Rowley stood his ground, so good for him. 5 out of 10. So Spooky Stories is a B tier. I really enjoy the Halloween narrative in this book. My favorite story is the demon, because it's the only like real life story in Rowley's book. I thought this whole book was going to be like scary stories that happened to Rowley, and not so much made up stories. For this one, I'm not going to mention an annoying moment, because it's like most of them, they're like, it's not real stories, so there's nothing really annoying in it. So 7 out of 10. Anyway, that's my Wimpy Kid tier list. I think my favorite book throughout the whole series is A Getaway. I just really enjoyed the vacation plot. And then Hot Mess is definitely the one I hate the most because Susan's so annoying in it. But anyway, I'm going to end the video there. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you guys next time. See ya!